All right, so good morning, and we'll just need a block today, and we will start lying on that block with our shoulders on the block. And you can have the legs out straight or in Baddha Konasana, whichever you would like. And with taking as much time as you need to arrive there. Here we are, maybe using those hands to lengthen out the neck, a little pull from right there at the base of the skull, the kind of thing massage therapists and chiropractors often do, that little gentle pull, so you can ease out that neck with lots of space between all the vertebrae there, and then letting go eventually. Inhaling and exhaling, letting that inhale expand and open through the upper chest and the ribs a little bit more. Drawing that breath all the way down into the lower belly. Exhale, pouring out through the legs, whatever shape they're in, up through the top of the head, out the front of the shoulders, out the fingertips. Using our attention to the breath to start feeling the body a little bit more from the inside. And if you want, stretching those arms out and overhead. Maybe doing the snow angel arms, breathing them up and down. And we'll take a few more breaths here on the block. And then gently making your way up to sitting. And we will sit in Sukhasana with the crossed legs. And using those arms alongside, giving a little length and up. Space coming between the vertebrae, space in the hip sockets. And then letting the hands rest on the knees, pouring down the sides of the neck off the tops of the shoulders, long through the top of the head. Inhaling and exhaling, balancing the effort into ease in your spine. And then we'll reach out wide through the collarbones, through the fingertips. Inhale and exhale, breathing the arms up. So we're going to put the cactus elbows in here, pulling those elbows down in two big right angles, more or less, and extending back up, and a big reach down. Let's do that twice more. Inhale and exhale up. Inhale and exhale, cactus. Take a breath, breathing the arms back up, reaching wide and down, and then once more. And changing the cross of the legs. Coming forward and over. Inhaling and exhaling, breathing into the back of the body. One more deep breath here. And then coming up, unfurling that spine vertebrae by vertebrae back up on top of the sitting bones. Inhale and exhale, everything arriving. And let's come up in downward facing dog. And walking the dog or anything else you want to do here. Being patient with those hamstrings. Or maybe using the extra wide feet since we didn't really do any lengthening of the back of the leg yet. And then finishing with whatever you're doing, finding the best downward facing dog you can do at this moment. Nothing moving but the breath. Inhaling up to the sitting bones, exhale, pouring down the backs of the legs. And then let's lengthen forward to the plank, feeling like you're doing those cactus elbows. Pulling the shoulder blades back into the back, wide across the collarbones. Breathing here, 4, 3, nice slow 4, and 2, and 1. And then we'll make our way onto the floor, onto our stomach, maybe chaturanga-ing. If you've got any wrist and shoulder strength left there, And there we are on the floor. Let's go to the Sphinx. Elbows under the shoulders, reaching out through the hands. We're pulling back with the elbows, pulling back with the hands, tailbone into the floor. Inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. And then let's make the arms straighter. So maybe you can do it with the hands where they are, or adjusting, bringing the hands a little more forward, maybe a little bit wider, maybe even a little bit closer to you. So a nice spacious cobra for yourself. Will all be a little different depending on body proportions and how that back is feeling today. And then coming down. And bringing those arms back into the cobra position. Really squeeze the elbows in, pull them up and back a little, and then setting the hands down. Reaching through the legs. And then as we press up into the small cobra, let's lift the right leg. Inhale and exhale and breathing 3, lengthening 2, and 1. And then coming down, bringing the right leg down, and then lifting with the left, lengthening up. Deep round breaths, 3, and 2. And squeeze those elbows, 1. And coming down. Let's do that again. We'll just hold 2 breaths, lifting the right leg as we come up. And 1, and 2. Coming down. Left leg lift. And 1, and 2. And then once more, just holding 1 breath, lifting the right, lengthen down, lifting the left, lengthen down. And then let's peel ourselves back to downward facing dog, taking a few cat and cows along the way. And then there we all are, downward facing dog. And if you need a little more dog walking, you can always do that. And let's walk the hands back to the feet at the back of the mat into Uttanasana, the standing forward bend. Breathing here with as much bend in the knees as you need. Letting the torso release, top of the head to the floor, extending up through the legs. And coming up to standing, big front body yawn. Pressing the arms down, long through the top of the head. Deep breath. And let's just take 1 circle front to the back with the shoulders to interlock the fingers behind. Lengthening up the front of the body to lift the chest, to lift the chin. And coming forward, pressing out through the hands. And release the hands and coming into Uttanasana, the chair pose. Nice strong upper body, holding those arms up. We're having the arms parallel to the floor if it feels like too much of a strain. Pulling back into that crease of the hip joints. And then we'll twist to the right, hooking the left arm across, reaching long fingertip to fingertip, reaching long through the top of the head. And then really press away with that right arm and take it around to the half binding. Sliding that right hand across the left hip, wherever it will go. And just take the hands to Namaste. And pressing into the feet, swooping up into the front body yawn. Unfolding those joints and arms down long through the top of the head. Inhale and exhale. And then we'll do it, putting the twist to the left. So let's circle the shoulders, interlock the fingers. Lengthening up the front of the body to lift the chest, to lift the chin. And coming over, pressing out through the head. Release the hands. And Uttanasana, a little bend in the knees, and then we make the pose by pulling back in the hip joint rather than pushing forward into the knees. Twisting to the left, wide arms, long through the top of the head. And then a big reach around with the left arm into the half binding. Roll the shoulder out, pull the elbow back. And then just bring the hands around to Namaste in front. And we'll swoop up to the front body yawn. And let's take an extra circle with the arms here. Carrying the arms around all the way back up overhead. And then we'll draw the hands down the center line into Namaste. Lifting up, flattening out. Namaste. Inhale and exhale. Samastiti, steadiness. And let's come over. Big inhale up. And exhale, diving over. Concave back, halfway up. Folding over. Walking out to downward facing dog. Getting a good press back with the legs. And then through the vinyasa. Any version. So I'm doing kneeling chaturanga. If you want to come along with me. And downward facing dog. Lifting the right leg up. Reaching long through that right heel. And through to the lunge. Holding this long, low lunge for a few breaths, lightening up on the fingertips. And you can stay there, maybe coming up into the high lunge for a couple breaths. And coming back down, and we'll all bring that left knee down in Jayasana. Inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. And circling the arms all the way around and back up overhead. Namaste in front. And then seated goddess, turning the right toes in 45 degrees. Swivel on the left knee. So you don't want to move the left knee in space. Just pivot that shin underneath yourself. Or maybe sitting on the floor, or whatever version of this you need to make it work. Pulling wide, knee to knee, inner thigh to inner thigh, long through the top of the head. And then we'll expand the arms, making a twist to the left toward the back of the mat. And then pressing that left arm away and into the half binding. Maybe you can get that right hand to find the left, or maybe not. So don't strain to get the right arm around as well. And then namaste hands. Inhale and exhale. And disentangling yourself, swiveling back to the low lunge. And then we'll turn that left foot down at 90 degrees to come up in the warrior number 2. Checking that alignment, knee tracking over the right foot. Lots of lift there in the abdominal muscles. So don't just kind of hang out on your legs. Lengthening up through the spine, all the way from the sitting bone. And then looking to the side, your body front, breathing the arms up. And feel the sitting bones going down. We're going to cactus arms here. Pulling the elbows wide as the arms extend. Think of gently deepening the lunge so the arms don't pull that lunge up. Let's do that 3 more times. Cactus and lift and ground. And then reaching through the fingertips, pull that right leg up to straight. Turning the feet to parallel. And coming forward and over, Prasarita Padottanasana. Inhale and exhale. And then turn into our right lunge, the front of the mat. Stepping back to the plank. Vinyasa or not, holding the plank is always a good option here as well. And then there we all are in downward facing dog. And we'll do that around on the other side. So let's see, here we are, lifting the left leg up. And through to the lunge. Holding this long, low lunge, maybe lightening up on the fingertips or coming up into the high lunge for a few breaths. And bringing the arms down, bringing the right knee down, and Jayasana. Inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. Circling those arms around all the way back up overhead. Namaste in front. And to the seated goddess. Left toes in 45 degrees. Don't move that right knee, just swivel the shin. And sometimes there'll be more, sometimes less distance between that right foot and left foot. And wedging the left arm in, or maybe sitting on the floor, whatever your version is for your knees today. Inhale and exhale. Stretching out through the inner thighs, through the knees, long through the top of the head. And then expanding the arms to make a twist to the right toward the back of the mat. And then let's bring that right arm around into the half binding. Roll the shoulder down, reach around with the right hand. And maybe the left hand can find the right or not. Don't strain for that. And lengthening through the top of the head, breathing. And release the hands back to Namaste. Deep breath. And swiveling back to the low lunge. So let yourself really arrive in that low lunge. And then come to the warrior two. Keeping everything nice and clear and organized. All right, checking that left knee is tracking over the foot. Inhale and exhale. Lifting up in the abdominal muscles. Maybe just if you're not sure about that, just suck your stomach in a little and see what happens. And then looking to our body front to the side to breathe the arms up. Don't let the lunge come up. And then cactus arms 4 times. Breathing those elbows down, lengthening up as that lunge subtly deepens. And then we'll keep reaching through the arms and we will let those sitting bones come up, pulling the left leg straight. And turning the feet to parallel. And coming forward, Prasarita Padottanasana, wide apart feet pose. And then turning back to the left lunge, that was our front of the mat. And stepping back to the plank, vinyasa, downward facing dog. And let's walk our hands to the back of the mat into Uttanasana, the forward dog. And coming up to standing, big front body long. Pressing the arms down, let's come to Namaste in front. Inhale and exhale. All right, so similar to what we did before with the Uttanasana chair poses. Let me see. This is a good way to stand. All right, so I'm just going to stand a little on the diagonal. We're still, in theory, at the back of the mat with our mat in front of us. All right, making a little space between your feet, at least an inch, maybe an inch and a half. Or you can use your usual stance if you keep the feet apart anyway. Let's interlock the fingers behind. Lengthen up the front of the body to lift the chest, to lift the chin. And coming over, pressing out through the hands. Release the hands. And then we're going to Uttanasana again. So bending the knees, hinging back with that little bit of space between the legs. And then as we twist to the right, we're going to take our left arm between the legs. So the left arm is pressing against the left inner thigh rather than the right outer. And then making sure that you're not distorting your legs with that. And reach around half binding with the right arm. And maybe that left hand in there can find the right hand. There it goes. All right, and then once you find the hands, get those knees straight over the feet again if you can. And we're twisting to the right. And just release the hands into Namaste in front. Pressing the feet into the floor, swooping up into the front body, yawn. Let's do the extra circle with the arms here. Unfolding. And pressing the arms down, long through the top of the head. And we'll go to the other side. Little space between those legs. And let's circle the shoulders to interlock the fingers behind, lengthening up to lift the chest, to lift the chin. And coming over, pressing out through the hands. Release the hands. Uttanasana, the chair pose. And then as we twist to the left, the right arm comes in between the legs and it's pressing against the right inner thigh. And then look to make sure you're keeping those knees tracking over the foot as we twist to the left. Pressing that left arm away into the half binding. Roll the shoulder out and maybe the right hand can find the left in there. So you might really have to squinch in. And then looking at the knees, trying to get that organized. And twisting to the left. Oh, breathing. How are we managing to breathe here? All right, I hope. Inhale and exhale. And then release those hands, namaste in front. Ah, spring up into the front body, yawn. Circling the arms around. Pressing the arms down long through the top of the head, and we'll bring the hands to namaste. So we're standing at the back of our mat into Uttanasana. Inhale and exhale, namaste. And coming over. Big lift up. And diving over. Concave back, halfway up, folding over. Walking out to downward facing dog. And get a good press back with the legs. And then through the vinyasa. And here we all are, downward facing dog. And let's lift our right leg up, reaching long through that heel. Dog at the high fire hydrant, bending the knee. And we'll hover plank, bringing that right knee forward. Swoop it back up, three-legged dog. Dog at the high fire hydrant. Let's do that twice more. And hover. And lift. And then the right leg. Once more. And here we are, fire hydrant dog, to come through to the lunge. Warrior number 2. Warrior number 2, there we go. And let's dancing warrior. If you're not tired of bindings, you could always half binding that left arm. And into the triangle, Trikonasana, tilting over. And then see if you can press the tailbone a little forward, body forward, and press that left shoulder a little back. So making your triangle feel a little more open, maybe like it's trying to be a little bit of a back bend. And then coming down to the lunge. And we'll turn to the elephant rider. And then we're going to the low side lunge. So taking that block, maybe moving it over by your left foot, or whatever you need to do here. And we shift to the left, keeping the left heel on the floor and going down, letting that right leg perhaps slide a little and adjust. And again, you could be sitting on the floor here and wedging that left arm on the inside of the left leg. So it's like the seated goddess with one leg straight coming down. Inhale and exhale, and then just look where are your hips pointing. That's your actual front. Might not be straight forward over the edge of the mat. Might be a little diagonal. Long through the top of the head. Expand the arms, making a twist right toward the front of the mat, toward the straight leg. And then rather than half binding, let's side bend that right arm up overhead, reaching toward the back of the mat. And then coming back around to Namaste. Deep breath. Back up into the elephant rider. Inhaling and exhaling. And then adjusting our feet to make the base of the warrior two, turning that left foot 90 degrees, right foot 90 degrees. And then right arm inside our right leg as we take a twisting to the left to come into Parasvakonasana. And so you can always come up higher, elbow on the leg if you want. And now maybe we'll do a binding again or not. Pressing that left arm back, wrapping it around, roll the shoulder out, reaching back with the elbow. Maybe that's good, or the right hand can find the left under there. Rolling the shoulders out, try to lengthen through the top of the head, try to breathe deeply. And release the hands. Turning to the right lunge, and let's step forward. Into Uttanasana at the front of our mat. I think that's the first time we've been here. Inhale and exhale. A few deep breaths, softening the face and the jaw. Coming up to standing, big front body yawn. Pressing the arms down around to Namaste in front. And I'm going to lift our right leg up in the right angle in front, or it could be the flamingo with our right foot on the inner left leg, and we'll take a twist to the right there. So if you want to hold on to something to be a little bit steadier, go ahead. Or maybe even just stepping onto the floor. All right, so reaching down through the left leg, bringing that right thigh up. Breathing the arms up. And then reaching fingertip to fingertip, twisting right. You can just reach through the arms or put the left hand on the right knee if you would like. Reaching the arms back up, reach that right foot down. And then coming back onto your mat if you're not there. And we'll dive over. Continuing as usual, which we haven't even done yet today either. Concave back, holding over. Vinyasa or not, downward facing dog. All right, so all of that around leading with the left. Be my memory test here. All right, lifting the left leg up. Dog at the high, fire high entrance. And hover plank knee forward. Three-legged dog swooping up. Bend that left leg back to fire hydrant dog and twice more of that. And then we're in fire hydrant dog, and we'll come through to the lunge. Warrior number 2. Dancing warrior, bringing that left arm up, maybe half binding with the right. And into the triangle, Uttanasana. And then feel that tailbone press forward, the body forward, so toward the long side of your mat. As that right shoulder presses back a little, almost like you're trying to back bend yourself. So you might not move at all or only a tiny amount, but it's a little bit more of an intention to open up rather than to be in those two flat planes. And coming down to the lunge. Turn into the elephant rider. And then headed for the back of the mat to the low side lunge, maybe grabbing your block, shifting the weight, keeping that right heel on the floor so you don't really go very far. And then you go down, and it's that left leg that might slide out a little further. It might move a little forward or back on the mat there. Letting that adjust. Wedging the right arm. Just notice where your body front is. So don't have to strain over to the right to make yourself square over the mat if it's actually kind of diagonal. Reaching from that left heel up through the right knee. Long through the top of the head. And then expanding our arms, making a twist to the left toward the front of the mat. And we'll side bend, bringing that left arm over the ear toward the back of the mat. Nice long reach from that left heel out the left fingertips. And then swooping the left arm around back to Namaste. Taking a breath. Back up into the elephant rider. And Once you catch your breath here, let's make the base of the warrior two. Right foot 90 degrees, left foot its own 90 degrees, and then left arm inside the left leg, twisting right into Uttanasana, maybe coming up on the knee. Sometimes it's handy to come up on the knee for a moment, really letting that pelvis and those thigh bones get in place, and then you can go deeper. All right, here we go. One more finding opportunity as we press back with that right arm, wrapping it around. Maybe that's enough. Maybe the left hand can find the right under there. And then trying to breathe deep. And releasing that. Turning to the left lunge to step forward. Uttanasana at the front of the mat. Taking a few breaths here, smoothing things out. Coming up to standing, big front body one. Pressing the arms down, around to Namaste in front. All right, here we go. Balancing. So the left leg comes up at a 90 degree or so angle. Or you could use the flamingo with the left inner foot on the inner right thigh. And then breathing the arms up. Twisting to the left, reaching fingertip to fingertip, or maybe putting the right hand onto the left. Reaching the arms back up, reaching the left foot down. Here we are at the front of the mat. Let's front body yawn and take the extra circle with the arms. Diving over. Concave back. Let's see, let's do one more through the vinyasa, or maybe you want to do 3 or 4 more, that's fine. Jumping or stepping back. Vinyasa. And we will eventually all be in downward facing dog. So maybe you're malingering, as am I here, in your vinyasa, or you're doing your 2 or 3 more. Or you're holding downward facing dog. Maybe you've already made it to child's pose. And then we all come down into child's pose. Oh. And coming up And we will come down and you can go to Shavasana right away or maybe lock under the sacrum. One more nice supported back bending action. So if we're getting that block, there we are. Considering how you're feeling, maybe you want to go for a higher block than usual, maybe a lower block. And if you're lying flat in Shavasana, that's also an opening of the front of the hip joints as well. All right, so here we are somewhere, supported by the floor, supported by the block. Inhale and exhale, letting go. If you're on the block, holding on to what you need, but letting go of everything else. And if you're on the block and want to come to Shavasana flat for a few breaths, making your way there. Though if you're quite happy on the block, you can continue to stay there. And taking one more deep breath. Moving the fingers and toes, maybe circling the wrists and ankles. Stretching the arms up overhead. Bend the knees. And then gently making your way up to sitting. And sitting in any comfortable position with that long and spacious spine. Taking a few more moments sitting quietly inside yourself. Namaste. Thank you for coming. Get this recording stopped.